several police officers were honored for what officials say was heroism and restraint in the face of danger. They fatally shot a suspect, but there are no questions about what happened because the officers were wearing body cameras.
March 11th, police are called to the apartment of Theodore Johnson, the second-floor unit of this duplex in Cleveland. This is the video recorded by a body camera that Officer David Muniz was wearing. As he makes his way up the stairs, Officer Muniz is fired on, shot in the chest at close range. He survives, saved by his bulletproof vest. Next, the video shows the officer who had just been shot desperately trying to talk the suspect into surrendering.
Just put the gun down and shoot me. No, we're not going to shoot you, Dad.
Still armed, refuses. Eventually, after repeatedly refusing to put down the gun, Johnson raises it at other officers. They shoot, killing him. Muniz did not fire.
Your heart starts racing a little bit, you know, because in Seattle you don't remember half of the stuff because the adrenaline is just running through your body.
He and the other officers involved were cleared of any wrongdoing. Cuyahoga County Prosecutor Tim McGinty said in a statement, the evidence shows the officers showed remarkable restraint and went above and beyond the call of duty to seek a peaceful conclusion. Police body cams are becoming more common. Widespread unrest after the deaths of unarmed black men like Michael Brown and Freddie Gray has prompted a push for improved transparency.
Put the knife down and stop! Stop where you are!
Some critics are blaming a recent uptick in crime on the increased scrutiny on police officers, whether by body cams, dash cams, or bystanders with cell phone cams. Police, fearful they could be held criminally accountable for simply doing their jobs, may be holding back. Critics have started calling it the YouTube effect on policing. According to the Washington Post, Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel said this at a recent gathering of Justice Department officials in D.C. We've allowed our police department to get fetal, and it's having a direct consequence. They pulled back from the ability to interdict. They don't want to be a news story themselves. They don't want their career ended early, and it's having an impact.
Vincent Hill is a former Nashville police officer. He is in Atlanta tonight. Vincent, is there a YouTube effect and are police holding back?
Well, John, that's the million-dollar question. What we definitely don't want is for police to do that. And I think as we look at society and we look at what's going on, I'm reminded of the detective that was beaten a few weeks ago that basically didn't fight back because of fear of what the video would show. So we definitely don't want to get into an instance where police are waiting to make those split-second decisions that could either get them hurt or killed. We definitely don't want that.
Well, you've got a balance here because you bring up that case. On the other hand, in Charleston, South Carolina, the town settled $6 million after a police officer shot an unarmed black man in the back. So how do police departments balance this?
Well, absolutely. When you're talking about body cams, the advantage of that is to be able to show everything from the officer's point of view. A lot of times when we see these tapes on YouTube or social media, what have you, it's usually at the point of escalation, so it doesn't always tell the full story. But the good thing is for those bad officers that are doing bad, it will tell the full story and they will be held accountable for their actions.
What about that video we showed in that piece just before I introduced you? I mean, is this showing that because police have a body cam, they're reluctant to shoot?
No, you know, I don't think it shows that, John. I watched that and I questioned it myself, but, you know, I put myself in that officer's shoes. You know, I've been in that situation myself before. And there was a point where the gentleman did have the gun to his side. So at that point, there wasn't really a threat there. So it was up to the officer's discretion whether they wanted to use deadly force immediately or at least wait until he showed some type of threat. So I think they showed great restraint, and they also showed how brave police are to go back in the house after he was shot.
I was going to say, I guess we're going to have to wait for research to find out really whether or not this affects a police officer in the most difficult circumstances. I'm trying to think what would be going on in the head of a police officer who's wearing a body cam, who's confronted with a situation like that. Are those officers really thinking about that body cam?
You know, honestly, I don't think they will be. Of course, body cams, it's a very new thing that's going across the country. You know, policing has been around hundreds of years. The use of force continuum has been around hundreds of years. So I think an officer is going to rely more on training and rely more on protecting his life, protecting the life of the public, versus, you know, waiting to see how something may come out on a camera. You know, again, if you wait that split second, it could be life or death.
And you know that. Vincent Hill, it's good to see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Always a pleasure.